Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, where Faction Wars Hard. Wait, I'm on normal. There we go. Faction Wars Hard has just gone live on the live game, and to break down the top champions that we found from our testing, we're joined by YST. How are you doing, man? We've been hard on the Faction Wars on the test server for the last week. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm keeping good, thanks. How you been?
Oh man, it's been a lot. We basically, if you guys that don't know, what we've been doing for hellhades.com is we played through, basically we split the factions 50-50 and we played through every stage for every crypt to try them out, see how they actually play with the conditions, the champions you're up against. Because some of them sound, I don't know if you found this, I found that some of the conditions sounded really easy and then you actually go in and it's really tough. Some of the ones with no buffs and stuff was tricky.
Yeah, I think the biggest bait for me, which I'm sure many of your viewers are going to come across when they get to the stages, there was one where it's like, oh, just beat the stage without losing an enemy or losing an ally, right?
Oh, yeah,
you're like, oh, that sounds pretty simple, right? We're used to that. But the thing is, you can't use revivals to enable that. You have to just straight out survive. And the waves hit like an absolute truck in comparison to some of the other ones.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of the ones that caught me off guard.
Yeah, there's one that's even worse than that for some of them, which is you have to be above 75% HP. So if the enemy sneeze on you, maybe it was in here. Was it in here? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's stage 20 as well.
That's crazy.
Be above 75%. So you get hit basically once, game over. And there's stuff like hegemons in those waves. And the nastiest ones is Ancora Narses, because she removes all crowd control from him. And then she removes all crowd control from herself at the start of her turn, and there's nothing you can really do to stop it unless you've got block passives, which few people do for the factions, or a increased skill cooldown. But again, half the factions don't have, not even half, more than half don't have it. Anyway, yeah. It's a thing. It's gonna be a challenge. So
that is a tough one. I felt like bolster was like without bolster, you get smacked by a hegemon, and if you got like a squishy damage dealer, you've failed already from the jump.
There you go. Well, let's break down some of our MVPs. We'll try to keep it to one or two champions. We might split damage and then a more support control champ. We'll see. But yeah, we'll just dive in. YST Bannerlords, you took this one. So you want to break down the very first faction for us?
Do you know what? I know that everyone's going to look at Taras Marishka. I feel like they're very, they're going to be MVPs. One that I wanted to call out that I felt was very, very strong and will be for a lot of players is Timid the Fool.
Yeah.
Very, very strong. And it comes down to, like you mentioned, there's some waves where it's like, oh, they can't have any buffs. And then let's just say you don't get to your skills on time and you want to reduce those duration of those buffs. He's able to do that alongside crowd control, right? And he's enabling so much stuff for your team and just keeps you support and pairs well with Kaja, right?
Yep. 100%. I think he's great. He was a fusion I think a lot of people skipped or didn't like, but I mean, he's MVP as well. I think for Curse City, he's going to be insane for this too. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot more confident about Bannerlords thanks to Timit. Yeah, cool. Do you want to call out anyone else then in this faction, or is that all good?
Yeah, we do. I'd one support, one DPS. I would say the DP. Oh, there's so many that was good. Yeah. I'm going to say number one DPS for my account, I don't have Taras, was Stoutest Dragonbane.
Yeah, nice.
Because he's enabling the stuns for some of the waves that you require, but also just a tanky damage dealer I felt was so valuable because these attack-based ones sometimes are just easily taken out, and if you're facing like a Mezimel Luperfang and you're targeted, right?
Yeah.
You're block revived and you're like, damn. But this dude seemed to survive a lot, and he's bringing in crowd control, damage, and just tanky. So really cool champ.
Cool. All right. I dig it. Very nice. All right. I'll probably be using both of those in my teams for sure. Over to High Elves. High Elves actually fairly tough, I found. The problem with High Elves is their control's pretty bad. Like if you're looking for AoE stuns and freezes and stuff, they've got a couple, but they're on really long cooldowns. So one MVP I want to call out, I didn't actually use him, and I really wish I did because it would have made it way easier. I think actually Skiramis is insane, and particularly, we'll mention this actually, I'll probably just say the same thing in your video, because he has a 3-turn cooldown provoke. That's massive, because again, so many other High Elves are on a 4-turn, and that's rough. But also you've got some conditions for High Elves, which are to land freezes. I think you get this guy into Frostbite sets, and there you go. You provoke them, they hit you, and then there's a really good chance they're frozen on their next turn as well. And I think it actually gives you way more control. I use Shiramani, and like she's grand, but it's still a 4-turn AoE freeze. It's still really inconsistent. So, yeah, so that would be sort of my MVP there. I was to pick another MVP. I was expecting to use Lysanthier a lot. I actually found, believe it or not, because I have Fina as well. She's obviously MVP too. But Atharion actually surprised me because the enemy waves, particularly at the high stages, scale up with so much health. He hits like an absolute truck. And he also self-buffs as well, which is handy. But this guy, he just hits so hard. He rips through the waves and the block buffs and decrease attack. Surprisingly useful. So yeah, I was actually like, oh damn, I guess I didn't actually probably need to do the Lysanthier fusion at all. I used Supreme Alhain at the start and she was okay, but Atharion really blew them both, I felt, out of the water when I was actually testing. So go for him.
Interesting.
There you go. Sacred Order. This one is one for me as well. So the MVP for me here would no question really be Lady Noelle. She's actually, if he wants to load in, sometimes the game just doesn't want to load champs for me at the moment. But Lady Noelle is definitely my MVP. I mean, AoE freeze on a 3-turn with the revive, and if you run her with Sir Nick, she can give you unkillable as well, which is cool. The other MVP, if I was to pick one, probably be He-Man. If you don't have him, you could use Alice, but He-Man is so handy, right? Like you come into the waves and they've got something, it's any obnoxious champion, you can just one-shot them with the A2, or then his A3 hits so hard. And again, for some of the, like I think you do have to fight the Ancora Narcissus wave. I think I got there and I just one-shot it with his A3. I was like, okay.
Oh, really?
I didn't need any strategy, really. Just save some buffs, make sure the move's not on cooldown. I was like, oh, instead of having to do these really complicated workarounds to deal with Ancora, I was just like, problem wave, just one-shot the thing. And that's without relics on the test server as well. I think Alice could do the job. Lots of champs could do the job. But yeah, He-Man, he was great. So he was obviously a paid champion, but still really good for me. Okay, this is one of your factions. We've got Barbarians.
Yeah, man. This was one of the, I don't want to say easy. It wasn't easy, but Armand's is just the no-brainer.
Yeah.
He definitely, without him, it's like if you don't have Armand's, I can see where this is a crazy hard faction to freestar because he's bringing in stuns. I think there's a turn meter requirement one that you need as well, where you need to drop down turn meter by like 40 plus times. He's easily going to do that. I found like when you're facing those mythical champions, if you don't have block active skills, the sheep was very useful for controlling them. So just around the board, I would say the number one support in the Barbarians to enable so many of the freestars, honestly. Like he's just amazing.
That makes,
also the A1, there's a flaw where you need to increase the cooldowns of enemies. He's enabling a ton. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, Armand's OP again. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, I know, right? I didn't want to mention him, but if I was
know,
to mention
makes sense,
another,
though. Like, he is so good. Yeah.
I would say if there was another control that I could speak for myself, I know Odin would have been MVP, but for me, when I was going through the floors, your car was very good from a free-to-play perspective.
Right, yeah.
Because he's bringing crowd control, damage, speed manipulation, turn meter steals.
Yeah.
There's loads of cool things to like about him. And from a damage perspective, also, I would say Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really good.
Nice.
Just being able to just trigger the passive as well. So what I was doing was kind of a monster control, kind of ramp up his passive with Thor, and then on wave 2, then you get the stuns out from Thor, and you just go back to back, and it's just full control, right?
Yeah, sick. It's probably going to be the easiest faction for most people to complete. Like, with normal mode, it was probably a lot of people's first faction with Syl. And now in hard mode, I think, with Thor and Armand's, it's probably gonna be.
I will say it's one of there's a stage where you need to, I think it was HP burns, and it's a faction that really lacks HP burn, and if you don't have stuff like Chronum, man, I was searching far and wide. It was it's like trying to use the epics of like A1 burns. It was like Jotun or something.
I think maybe this chick can do, or I don't know.
Yeah, I think I used Kalia. It's a random hitter.
Yeah. I did have a little chuckle, I have to say. They in their blog post, Plarium was like, we've carefully chosen the conditions for every faction to make sure they can do them. And let me tell you, there's a few conditions you're like, this faction can't do it. Can't do it. What are you talking about?
It's because it's not just placing the debuffs. It's like you need to control them, make sure no buffs go out, and there's some crazy fast ones as well. You're like, how are you supposed to get these debuffs out, man? It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, for Ogryn tribes, Vizig is the obvious MVP. I'll also call out Stock as well. And if you got the two of them together, I find this faction so easy. With Vizig and Stock, like they're absolutely busted.
Yeah.
Again, because the enemy waves, they scale up at the end. They scale up to really tanky. You just rip through them with the poisons and burns, and he's even healing you as well. And you know who's a sneaky MVP? No one Gerda was actually.
Oh yes,
Gerda,
let's go,
man.
Gerda.
Gerda's actually really good, dude. Like just that passive. Because again, some of these waves, they're especially at the end. Again, this is another faction
Really
with
fast.
the Ancora Narcies, and I was actually able to just push their turn meter back enough, stack up enough poisons and burns. They just died. I was like, Gerda enabled that without needing to rebuild everyone with crazy speed. But yeah, she's actually really good. Just puts out some poisons, and removing some debuffs is actually pretty clutch against like hegemon waves and anything like that can debuff you. She can cleanse it off. So again, part of what makes her so good is she's with Vizig and Stock, but I mean she'll combo real well with Stock as well. So yeah, that's probably what I go for there. I actually used every legendary I've got in this faction actually to complete it in the end, just for the different things. But
So for you, I was just because there's that. I think there's a flaw. I'm not sure if it's in the Ogryns, but there's one. I think one of the hardest stages is you cannot weak hit. Right?
Oh yeah.
Did you manage to beat that with all of these various affinity champions, or was that one that you just couldn't freestar? It's really hard without voids, Ran.
Yeah.
Right?
So basically, I just didn't bother for a lot of them on the test server because I was like, realistically, I would be putting in Vizig and Affinity Breaker and just praying and just run it over and over and over again until you get good affinity and try kill off any force affinity enemies. Like I could do it relatively well with Gurgo, and you know you could go in Man-Eater's not too bad and Skrank, but I was like, man, the time requirement to actually get that done, I was like, we've been rushing, we've been trying to cover every stage for every faction, so I was like, that's just going to take too much time. And it really depends. Those stages I hate. That almost entirely comes down to how many void legendaries do you have in the faction. So otherwise it's real tough. Like your mythicals don't help too much if you got them. None of the faction unities are void. And then a lot of factions don't even have void epics or not good ones. So it gets a bit rough.
It's a really RNG stage that. Yeah.
It's bad, yeah.
It's bad.
I did it for a couple of factions, and I was like, this is just too tedious. Like I did it for Lizards.
Yeah, I was lucky with I think it was Shadowkin. I think there was like because she can't weak hit against Demonspawn, right?
Oh.
So like I think some of the champions that she was wrong affinity to were Demonspawn, and I was like, oh my god, I finally beat one. It was crazy.
Nice. Okay, MVPs for this fact. I mean, there's no question the MVP is Romantu. Romantu's insane. Because the block passives and block active. So for old champions that don't have passives, block active skills, it just stops them from doing anything but their default attack, and it's easy then to deal with. And then there's a ton of champions with really nasty passives that make a lot of conditions really hard. Like, so for example, the one, you have to kill enemies with no buffs, but they've got Owella in there. Whenever you hit them, she puts out continuous heals. Or Elva, and she's doing this stuff. Or Jingwan is the nightmare. I think he appears in most stage 9s, and
Probably
then onwards.
the worst champion to face.
Oh, he's
gosh.
so bad. Again, Romantu's just like block passives, bam, no Jingwan passive, stun him, job done, easy. So yeah, Romantu is and he also does good damage. He can put out True Fear on 4 targets as well. Yeah, he's he was MVP for me. Python actually is real nice too, which I didn't really expect. There's a lot of the bosses in particular, you kind of need his A2. It'd be very hard without him, without the block debuffs especially.
Glenn's block debuffs is massive actually,
Yeah. So those would be my 2 right there. Skinwalkers is one of yours.
That was me, yeah, that was. Ooh. I think this was the first faction that I went through and completed. So
right, nice.
I think, aside that, I think, MVP wise, just to get out of the way, I don't want to mention because it's just so obvious. I think Gallius, since his buff, probably the best champion in the faction. Arguably, it's between him and Marius, I think, is the number 1 and 2. Yeah. But man, Gallius, he's a wrecking machine. It's wild. Like, the provoke stages, he's bringing you buffs, revive on deaths, damage, metamorphs, enabling the extra turn room. There's so much stuff to like about this guy. I'm really excited to test him out, man. I'm waiting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Gallius is gonna be good. Cool. So Gallius and Marius. Anyone else that's worth pointing out? I would say one that I really enjoyed using, who I actually haven't had the chance to use until recent times, was the guy right above my head. Ragash. Yeah. Because
He's bringing in. I think there was a room where you require perfect veil while killing champions, and as a damage dealer that can self-apply perfect veil is perfect. You're also getting protective buffs, increased speed, damage, like some stuns in there as well. You know, he's very similar to the Stoutest, right? Defensive base support champion with a nuka skill. So
yeah, he's legit. My main struggle, I think, with Skinwalkers, with Gallius, Ragash, and Marius, is probably going to be having too much damage. You know, for the early stages, especially, they'll just die.
I guess so. And also, I'd say one of a small call out would have been Nishak. I think he was really good.
Interesting. Yeah.
Do you know when you have to ramp up? I think you need to get to 10 debuffs on an enemy before you kill them.
Yeah.
What I was tend to doing is using Nishak, doing all the bombs that convert into loads of poisons, then put your normal debuffs out, and I was easily able to do it. Only because of Nishak, though.
Yeah, that's sick. That's clever. Yeah, for sure. Okay. I think we've got a few of your factions back to back. We've got Orcs as well.
Yeah. By the way, guys, if anyone's confused about your factions, what we're speaking about is like this is like what we was focusing on behind the scenes for the website, right?
Exactly.
That's pretty much the idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Number one for me. Oh, do you know what? There was some sneaky good ones in. I'm not sure if to save it for the other video or not.
I don't know. Just give us the top one or two. I'm curious. This faction I feel is a bit rough, right? I don't know. I'm curious what was good for you.
I would say Warlord 100%.
Oh, yeah.
You know, skill lockout, 10-meter reduction, block debuffs. Like, he's just going to be crazy good. Yeah,
he's got to be probably the best champion almost in the entire faction. And, like, that's insane.
Man, another one. Do you know what? I'm going to say two, actually.
Okay.
Epic-wise, I'm going to lead to Seer. You know, wave-based content. She's absolutely deleting waves. I think it's a bit harder in the later stages when they're so crazy fast. She does tend to get wiped out. But in the stages leading up to it, like, you know, it just makes it so much easier. And another one was Packmaster Shayak. I know I messaged you about this.
Yeah.
Man.
I was thinking that too. That's crazy, though.
This dude is crazy good. I was like, if they bring out a Hound in this faction with a dominant A1, it's going to be really, really strong for the faction. But just in general, the block buffs, the 10-meter fills, the taunts and stuff. There was just so much stuff to like about him throughout the wave. So
like I think you know, this is part of this video is going to seem a bit weird to people for the first week or two because you're going to be playing like stages 1 to 3, and they're honestly really easy. Like stage 15 plus starts to get really tough, and like I think by stage 21, you know, that the bosses are nasty, but the waves can be horrible, and some of those waves are pushing like well over 300 speed. And they've got like turn meter boosters. You've got like Tetsuya the Deliverer for some factions is a nightmare because he can just cut in on you and steal your turn meter. Like you've got some nasty stuff, and it's really tough to actually build like an entire team of 300 speed plus champions and more. These turn meter boosts and block buffs is very useful. Yeah.
Also, there was, I think, the hardest stage in the Orcs, just to give you guys a bit of a disclaimer, is killing the enemies with ally attack. And if you do not have like even if you've got ally attack with Krilo or someone, right?
Yeah.
There's no counter attacks here. I think maybe there's some self-applying ones or something throughout the faction.
Yeah,
but it's very limited, right? And you have to get enemies to a certain HP threshold in high stages. It's really, really hard to enable.
It's hard. Yeah, it'd be hard to trigger it, but this guy's actually really good. The Unity, it's not
the Unity. Aside from that, I found it really, really tough. And I think if Raid bring out a really strong ally attack champion to pair with Packmaster, would make it perfect.
I bet they will.
Missing.
Like they've got. I know
they need to for that requirement. It's almost impossible. I really struggled with that.
Yeah. Fair. All right. Demonspawn. This was one you did as well.
We're going back to back.
Back to back. Yeah, it's just the way it works. You know?
Okay. Do you know what? I'll call this one out. Maybe a few players have got their hands on her by now. Lamasu.
Yes. Yeah.
Definitely, for my account anyway, came out above probably every other support in the faction, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
You know, removing debuffs, intercept on them is nice. I think the resetting of the cooldowns for your damage dealers or your supports, I found very useful. Block buffs and true fear in the same ability.
Yeah.
You know, you can't go wrong with that, right? And decrease attack A1. So, I think across the boards,
Speed Aura.
Yeah, she was nuts, man.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, like, I think a lot of viewers probably will have started getting her, or like will be getting her, well before they finished Hard Mode Faction Wars. You know, it obviously takes a few months for sure to collect her, maybe even a year or so. But you will eventually get her. You'll slowly build up the pieces, and I mean, it's going to take you months to clear normal faction wars, and it's going to take most players months and months to clear hard faction wars as well. So she's definitely one that you can rely on getting to help you finish this event. It's like getting Physics for Dark Elves, you know, it takes ages, but you get there. And that same with Carnage, I would assume. I don't know if you have him or used him.
I have, maybe I didn't have him on the test server, so I definitely beat all the stages without him.
Yep.
But I think another MVP, actually one call out before that final MVP, I don't think anyone's going to see this one coming.
Ooh.
But there is a stage where you need to use bomb champions. If you don't have Shazar, multiple Soul Drinkers or Commodus, it's literally impossible. It's so tanky.
Yeah, I hate that. Yeah, I mean, at least you've got an epic option, but that's rough.
But man, the waves that you have to do it in are so damn tanky, and you have to like re-roll with a Kaimar to get so many out. It's obnoxious.
Yeah, I think Ogryn has the bombs as well, and it's like there's Galka, who's an epic, or there's War Mother. If you don't have War Mothers,
it's tough.
Yeah, it's rough. It's really rough. And you need to increase attacks. They hit hard. At least Shazar self buffs. Anyway, yeah.
Do you want to guess who I'm gonna say MVP? That's my second one.
I know you like Chalco. I don't know if you've got him.
I'll give you one little hint. It's a supporty champion. Might not be support based, but it's a supporty-esque.
I'd say maybe Vassal.
No, it's actually one you don't have. Countess Lix.
Countess Lix.
She was absolutely phenomenal. I was like, wow, I can't believe it, because it's the A3. That combination alone is absolutely nuts. Block active skills, controlling those enemies, decreasing cooldowns. I think she does need a bit of a buff to bring that down a little bit in terms of cooldowns, but
it's a bit long.
The skill alone was massive, and the turn meter reductions and the decreased speed enabling one of the rooms and weaken A1s, decent damage. I found being used in at least 70% of my stages.
Wow, yeah. She seems real good. Yeah, I'm like, I've got Lamassu Carnage, so I'm feeling okay about this fact, and Kaimar, but at the same time, I don't have her. I don't have Duchess. I'm a little worried.
Duchess might be... Duchess, I think if I didn't have Duchess, I would have definitely struggled.
Yeah, I think there might be some stages that need Perfect Veil, and I think the boss stages I'm very concerned about. We'll see. Who knows?
It's a tough one. It is a tough one.
It's going to be tough, yeah. All right, Undead. This one was me. I mean, this is fairly obvious. I mean, Fabian. This faction was super easy, guys, for me. Fabian, he just wrecks all the waves. He's so much control. It's disgusting.
I just dribbled off my drink. Sorry, man.
Getting excited by Fabian.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, I'm drooling over it.
So it's all the ghosts, but Fabian and then Sifi Rotus. Sifi Rotus just solo all the bosses. It's actually ridiculous.
Really?
Like the stage 21 boss, I just threw in like the Sifi Rotus Fabian Ultimate Death Knight, and I actually put in Bad Elf for a bit of healing, and I was like, just to see if how tough this boss is, just to get a vibe, and then we'll see. Now it took me like 130, 140 turns to get through the waves. It takes just ages because there's only Rotus for damage, and then they solo the boss in like 100 turns. I was like, oh, I almost just one-shot stage 21 without doing anything. So I was like, okay, this is they're legit. So yeah, but Fabian's the out-and-out MVP. He's insane. I don't know if you ran into the Calamitous waves. Calamitous form one in the waves. Dude, he gets one turn and you're dead, man.
You're dead. He's like literally on the first wave, right? On like the left. I'm like, oh yeah, this is easy. And then boom, he just, if you don't control him. And it's so hard because I guess you can't lock them out of their skills. You can only use block active skills, if that makes sense. Like you can't decrease their cooldowns. Yeah. Because you just metamorph and kill you anyway. So you definitely need to outpace and control with this dude.
Yeah, he's the guy. The enemies to really watch out for. So the enemies don't have crit rate, but this guy, he always crits. So he's terrifying, and he's self buff. So he just one shots your whole team. Doesn't matter. He just kills you. Bomb champions. HP scaling champions, because they've got so much HP, are really nasty as well. Like I found one of the funniest waves that I love. There's like a Siegfried, and then he's with a Timid and Kaja, and like Timid is 10 times scarier, I found, than Siegfried. Siegfried's like, Siegfried, just try hit me, bro. I don't even care, man. You just tickle. And then Timid's like, whack and a whack and a whack, and all your buffs are gone, and you're feared, and I'm chunking you, and like, oh my god, the HP scaling, please stop.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, we've got 3 of mine now back to back, Dark Elves and Knights Rev. So I did Dark Elves. Dark Elves is pretty tough. Obviously, Lydia, Vizix, Mithrala, hey! And that's like your team for nearly every single stage. Yeah. I actually found Noct was my sort of surprise MVP. especially for some of the bosses, because he's healing you a bit with his passive, and Mithrala can be pumping out poisons A1. But he can control. He actually does a lot of damage to the waves and try to keep you alive. Like, I just find it's really hard to keep Dark Elves alive. They're really squishy, and I don't have... I mean, the only reviver I had was Rian, who I did use for some stages. Dark Elves is a bit tough, but yeah, I mean, it's like I have to call it just the 3 voids. They're MVPs, and like that's your core team right there. And you just that's it. You only need 2 other good champions, and then some bonus ones for some conditions. But you've got your 3
really
core team. Yeah. Then Knights Revenant, easy MVP here. It's not even close. Is Empress. I will say I know a lot of people build him with no accuracy. You obviously want accuracy on him for the waves because he's pumping out True Fears. There's a prize thing here. You guys might have, if you've been playing Live Arena, you probably noticed Necrosis can actually be extremely strong, especially this passive activating it. It is insane for the waves. Again, these waves have really high HP at the end, like the last few stages. You can just have Empress in Form 1. It's pumping out True Fear, basically on a 2-turn cooldown. Sorry, it's a 3 turn, but basically a 3 turn. He gets that extra turn in there. Pumping out loads of True Fears. You just see him in Form 1, you kill one enemy, and he just starts ripping through them in Necrosis. Like, the waves die so fast, and he can stop them getting buffs and control. And then obviously you can swap him over and nuke in Form 2 if you want. He's the MVP for me. And then I would say, apart from that, Ancora was just like a core basically in every single stage just to keep you alive. Bit of resets. Yeah, Ancora is just real good. But Empress, again, it's the sort of Lamassu situation where if you don't have him, you will get him eventually, and then he just transforms this faction. He makes it very, very, actually one of the easiest ones, simply because of Empress. Right, Dwarves, for you. You did this one. Is this your last one? No, you did Shadowkin as well. 2 back-to-back, and then I did Sylvan.
Dwarves is actually the final faction I'm currently still beating as we speak.
Gotcha.
So he's the final. But I guess like some standouts for me that from where I've got up to so far, I think I'm on like stage 17 or 18, trying to beat every stage at least.
Yes.
Senna Amberheart, of course, is going to be number 1.
Yeah.
Like, you're just able to infinitely just outpace the enemies and get around to your skills on time. And revivals, 10-meter boost, increased speed. She just brings everything you want for a team, right?
Yep.
In terms of surprise champion,
or MVP.
See, the thing is, I didn't have crazy DPS, but on the test server, I did manage to play with Uzo in my squad. And he was really good.
He nuts, man. Yeah, he's so good. Oh, one person's got him. Gave him a 4
already?
for campaign. That's a bit harsh. Bit harsh.
If I was to say someone that I would have on my main account,
like,
man, it was a tough one.
MVP. Like, is there any champion you've used on nearly every stage apart from Senna? It's not great. It's sort of a weird faction. It's solid, but not crazy.
Yeah, it was. For this faction, for me, it was kind of wearing them down over time. I didn't really have the crazy DPS. I think one that was in all of them for me was Underpriest. Kind of had a bit of a comeback.
Okay.
For me.
There you go. Cool. Perfect.
Yeah, I think, those shields, the healing from the shields when you're attacked and removing buffs and the HP burn room, I think there's one of those, and reflecting damage. I just found like he was just a strong support one, sit on the side and just carry you pretty much. Yeah.
There we go. Simple. Nice. I like it. All right. And then Shadowkin. Ooh. Oh, I've got Tetsuya. I just got 2-star soul for him. Ooh, this is the first one I think opened today as well. I'm going to record.
I'm jealous, man. I don't even want to look at Tetsuya right now.
Okay. So tell us who your MVP is. He's my MVP.
I did the progressive chance for this dude, right? I got the 20x and the 25x, and I still didn't get him I had 3 legendaries, never got him.
That's sick. I got him on the first Prism Shard, man, for that summon pool. First one.
I'll leave it to see.
But I did spend like $50 buying more, but still.
It was worth it. I'd pay 100 for that dude.
There you go. All right. Who's
all right?
Genzen? No. Yes, no.
He was definitely in a lot of teams. I think I might have to call out like 3 or 4 this time, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Sure. MVPs.
Okay, number 1 champion in the faction, Lady Mikage.
Yeah. Both forms.
And you know what? Not for Form 1, for Form 2.
Form 2. Yeah, it's insanely good.
It's crazy because there's a turn meter rooms where you need to reduce turn meter. She does that. You need stuns. She does that. You need buff removal so you kill all the enemies when they have no buffs. Yeah. She does that. Increase accuracy to place your debuffs if they're resisting. She does that. So I think overall, one of the best champions for this is crazy.
Yeah, with her. Easily. Yeah. Yep.
Number 2, Yumiko. Lockout is very, very important for the stages that I was trying to freestyle anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, that skill alone was massive, but also the A2 to send debuffs back.
Mm.
Because I think Supreme Gallic, is it Supreme Gallic where he's just immune to crowd control, he grants an extra turn.
Yeah, he cleanses it off. That can be really
So what
annoying.
I tend to do was just send all those debuffs back to him, was something I was doing.
Okay, yeah, I like it.
Number 3, arguably could have been number 1, Jingwon.
I was gonna say, he's so nasty to fight against, man. Like, he's terrible because he's immune to everything and he cleanses the team and then buff strip. Yeah,
I'm just saying now, guys, if anyone out there that has Yumiko, Mikage, and Jingwon, you could probably 3-star their entire faction wars. Like, it's literally the waves don't even get a chance to do anything because you're countering mythical champions, you're removing buffs all the time, you're controlling. It's crazy. There was literally in all the stages.
Yeah, nice.
In terms of DPS, I'm gonna go with Harima, tanky damage dealer with provokes, and you need provokes for some of the stages as well. So yeah. And the final, actually, do you know what? I'll save that niche pick for the last one, for the next video.
Sounds good. Cool. Yeah. All right, I like it. And then I move on to Sylvan Watchers. So funny, 2 fun facts. Less fun fact number 1 is that it was the first faction I covered. Fun fact number 2, this is the faction I use by far the fewest champions on. I think I use like 7 or 8 champions total. It's actually ridiculous. The MVP for me, there's a few. So like Elva was in every single stage. Eilil made it into almost every stage as well. I think people really underestimate him, but again, he comes in and you go, there's a problem champion in this wave. One-shots anybody. It doesn't matter. 0 setup required. He didn't even have a relic on the test server. It's just like, there's a Jingwan, 1 shot, he's dead. Doesn't matter. Stage 21, 1 shot, dead. Job done. So he's insanely good. My sneaky MVP is actually probably Creodon then. This guy's he's better than half the legendaries in the game for this. The AoE freeze, each hit, chance to freeze, makes him a bit more affinity neutral. I had him like fast in a relentless set. He's pumping out turn meter, increased speed. He's pumping out freezes. He can freeze on the A1. He's just really fast. He's legitimately like, I mean, I did high elves near the end and I was like, the legendaries here with their 4-turn freezes ain't got nothing on Creodon with his 3-turn freeze.
Creodon is really strong.
Yeah. So there you go. They'd be like the big ones for me. They'd be the MVPs. It's actually crazy how few champions I actually needed to beat this faction.
While you're in this faction, I just want to call out that Nell Blackteeth was so bad to face, man. Did you face her?
Pretty tough, yeah.
Oh my god, Joyce, it's like, yes, the passive where she's just doing the poisons. If you do not lock her down in the first instance, she metamorphs, true fears you for like 2 turns. Oh, it's nasty.
Yeah, and yeah, she cuts in as well because you buff up and she gets loads of turn meter.
It was so bad, man.
Yeah, turn meter boosts her team. She can steal all your buffs. She's quite nasty. I didn't find that as bad as some of the other ones, but yeah, she's definitely one.
Who do you think was the strongest DPS? Bit off topic.
Yeah.
Well, I guess on topic. Who was the strongest DPS that you faced across any stage that you did?
The hardest one to deal with. The hardest one is probably Narcisse for me, and Cora Narcisse. That's I found really tough. It's just like you can't crowd control them, so he's immune to crowd control unless you've got block passive. So very few champs with block passives. And where is he? Here he is. Very few champs with block passives. Very few champions with increasing skill cooldowns. So it's like either you can try push their turn meter back, or you can just one-shot them. Those were the only real solutions I had. I found that really tough because basically he's often in the stage where it's like nobody can die or nobody can take much damage, and there's hegemons. So you're running like shield sets on people for the hegemons.
It's crazy.
And then you're like, oh, I've got shields now, and you literally get one shot by Narcisse if he takes a turn. And yeah, I found that was consistently every time I saw that stage. And Cora Narcisse stages and like Jingwan Elva stages, they're both super nasty.
For me, it was the Jingwan Toshiro.
Jingwan Toshiro, that's really bad. Yeah,
Toshiro, I don't know, like
max,
that damage. Nobody was surviving it on my team. Like if he's not controlled, you're dead.
It's because he puts decreased defense and he just hits really hard.
So bad.
And because he's partially HP scaling as well. I think that's part of it too. Yeah, that's a nasty one. I think for high elves, Tetsuya was really annoying because I was using Fina, and Fina puts out so many buffs, and she's got the extra turn, but like she was basically giving him 30% turn meter just doing her stuff, and I was like, I had 300 speed on my Atharion, and he was still getting outsped. I was like, what the hell? So I think I had too many champions going first. He's getting, and then he comes in with his A3 and he steals all your turn meter and True Fears you. It's quite rough.
Yeah,
but he usually his waves are super squishy. You can just kill them. Whereas like it's really hard to one shot. I don't think I've seen him too much.
I think he was on like, was it round 3 or something? Like as you get to the third round, he's like there for like 2 of them.
Yeah. So he was bad a couple of times, but yeah, the other ones were worse. And Calamitous surprised me a few times as well with his guaranteed crit. I was like, I think we
both agree Jingwan is the worst champion to face out of any of them.
Jingwan, I think, is going to be the one that really stands out to
Everyone's
people. It's like, how the hell do I deal with this? Because for most of the time, you have to get maybe a stun set, stun one enemy to trigger his passive, or you have to do crowd control, then remove their block debuffs, then crowd control them again. That's like 3 champions worth of jobs to fit into the one team.
This is why the number one counter for Jingwan in the game is Timid the Fool. Because what you're able to do is, well, for anyone that, because I mentioned it earlier, right? What he's doing is he's decreasing the duration of the buffs and then he's granting the extra turn, right?
Yeah.
So when you grant the extra turn, then you lead in and then you like True Fear. So he's basically stripping, controlling, and he goes really well after your initial control to re-control pretty much.
All right, cool. Well, there we go. Guys, they were the MVPs we had for each of the factions. Hop on over to YST's channel. We'll talk about some of the surprise picks that were crucial to doing conditions. There's a bunch of champions I've literally never used before I had to use. So yeah, we'll see you guys for that. YST, thank you for joining. Anything you want to say for the end?
I just appreciate you having me on, and let's go speak some more faction wars.
Let's do. We haven't talked about it enough in the last week.
I know, man. That's what we've been breathing.
All right, see you guys next time. Bye-bye.